The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. Now, how could that be if this is the first go around, Adam and Eve and on up? Well, it can't be. It had to be something before. And when the flood happened, I said he broke the waters of the deep up, broke everything up, broke the land up, pushed everything around. When those waters came up out of the deep, they went shooting way up high in the sky, way up into the real cold regions. So a lot of it came down as ice. But you think about it, there's things out there. They found a spark plug they claim to be 10,000 years old. Well, according to the Bible, all this only started 6,000 years ago. So how could there be a spark plug 10,000 years old out there? Well, it's because this has already been done. There was something required a spark plug back in that time because somebody had figured it out. Already rode in that rodeo. And that blows some people's minds. But they can't accept it as having been done in a different era as far as a different population and different society. They got to try to intertwine it into our history, our prehistory. Well, it is our prehistory because it happened before us. Just didn't happen with us. The people we're descended from. It's been done before. Before your minds burn totally up trying to figure that out. Don't try to figure it out if you're having trouble with it. What you have to keep in mind is that God is not limited to time. See, time is yet another thing that God created in order to make all this work. Now, I'm sure he could have chose any number in the trillions of numbers of different ways to have done all this. I mean, he's God. He can do whatever he wants to. And he can do it how he wants to. But for some reason, this is the way he chose to do it. That gets you into thinking about other things that's not really important to think about. Because it's not. But this is the way he chose to do it. And this is not the first time he has done this. That's why you find things that are tens of thousands of years old. And while man with his puny mind is trying to figure out how that fits in and how primitive minds with primitive tools built things that we can't get built today, it's because they're trying to mix together two totally different things. It's like trying to mix Coke and Pepsi together. It just don't happen. It just don't work. One's Coke and one's Pepsi. And they don't mix together, but they're trying to mix them together like they go together, and they don't. I'm going to tell y'all another one real quick. This will be for the more brainy types. And most of you out there are pretty dang smart, so if it sits there and makes your brain burn a little bit trying to think about it, that'd be a good thing. Man wants to know how all this was done. And that's a very good question. They also want to know why it was done. I'll get into that later. Now, I don't know the specifics of how it was done. I know what was used. As I stated before, God also created science in order to create all this and make it all work. Time, science, all of it. So here's the thing. There is a scientist who stumbled across a key ingredient to how all this was done. And it's an equation. Now, they use that equation to give us nuclear power. The equation is E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Well, now there's a thing in mathematics, algebra, physics, all that, where you can manipulate an equation to get a different result, so you can get the opposite result. So if you took E equals mc squared and manipulated it to where you figure out how much matter you would get from the energy put into it, rather than getting the energy out of the matter, they've taken an atom and they split it. And when they split that atom, it releases energy. But you manipulate the equation to where you figure out how much matter you would get from that amount of energy. Well, then you step into the realm of creating. But now here's the thing. What kind of energy? And we get nuclear power by splitting the atom, and it's radioactive. Well, what if you took that energy, manipulated the equation, and boom, you've got matter? Well, that's essentially what God did. He took that equation and created all that we see and know. But now you say that would require a lot of energy. Yes, it would. But here's the thing. Nuclear power isn't the most powerful energy we know. The human mind is said to be able to have enough energy in it to power 10 New York City blocks indefinitely. That's a lot of power. But it still ain't powerful enough. There's one type of power more powerful than that. And it's love. Love is the most powerful energy known. Well, guess what? God is pure love. And that would be potent enough to take a little bit to create all this. So when folks tell you that you're not your own because you belong to God, it's more literal than it is figurative, because every single atom, every little quark, neutrino, every single one in this universe that we know of as a universe was created from the energy of God's love. So we are literally made of God. That's why our bodies are not our own. The only thing we have to ourselves is our free will to choose, make that one choice, whom we shall serve.